Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another hilarious evening of the Comedy Sideshow. And kicking off the show tonight, it's one of the best dressed comedians in the universe. You've seen him on Comedy Central, you've seen him on MTV. Mr. Ryan Stout is here. And it's the CEO of Comedy Juice, Mr. Scot Richardson.
Hi, this is Pablo Francisco, and you're watching the Comedy Sideshow.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Comedy Sideshow, and we are here. It sure is. We're here with, I'm going to go ahead and say, probably the most well-dressed comedian of our time. Is that safe to say?
Oh my God, of our time. I don't even dress that well. I dress very, very simple.
Really?
In a lot of ways. I mean, it's just a suit and a shirt and a tie.
But it's a nice suit. Look at this. What is that? Look at that.
I know,
fancy.
there's a little lining in there.
Fashion, that's nice. You always look very nice whenever I see you somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like that people equate me with the suit, you understand, in Hollywood.
And professionalism, I think it equates you with.
Definitely. And
okay.
I'd like to think that when I get on stage, the crowd goes, oh, this guy's probably going to talk to us. He's probably not going to do backflips or make fart noises. This is probably going to be an intellectual show where we listen and have to think about things. That's what I would like. It doesn't always happen that way. A lot of times, it's weird. I get up and I'm like, oh, yes, I took this very seriously, and I respect this as a craft and an art form, and I'm the only one here tonight that actually thinks of it this way. So be it.
But now, I mean, I've seen your act. Obviously, it's very, I mean, I don't want to say it's just very smart, but it's a smart act.
Thanks.
I mean, you come across definitely as a very educated guy. I want to know what kind of, like, obviously, some people say there's comedy groupies. I'd hate to think that, but do you think a suit picks up a certain type of woman?
No, I think it makes me very unapproachable.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing comedy for 10 years, and it's only been in the last, I want to say, like, month and a half that I've seen, like, a much bigger spike of women approaching me on the road.
That's nice.
And I've narrowed it down to one thing, and that is I stopped shaving before every show.
Oh, really?
If I go 2 days without shaving, the number of women who approach me goes up exponentially.
He's serious.
No idea what it is. They just go, oh, maybe he's not a complete elitist prick. Let's go see what he's about. It's a strange, and by the way, I don't really care about women on the road.
Right, yeah,
like
no, not that it matters.
But it's just a fun social experiment for me
to
to go, how is it that I was headlining this exact club 4 years ago and no women approached me? But this time round, oh, same suits, not the same suits. I think the suits have gotten a little better over time.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen I've only known you for probably about 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So I've only seen a certain, era of the suits.
I think I was there when you started, because when you started, started running a room, right?
Yeah, in Santa Monica.
At the, what was it called, the Q?
Q,
yeah.
Did you do that room?
I did that room.
Awesome,
maybe the second show you did there.
We only had about 4 shows, so I think Brian Scalero did one. He was like our big, one of our big headliners that week.
Yeah.
But that's awesome, man. Thank you for doing that.
No, my pleasure. I'm glad we pulled that down. From what I remember, it was fun, and
it was a good room. They didn't like the liquor sales because people were enjoying the comedy, so they weren't buying beers.
You know what? I can remember everything about it. It's odd.
It's a weird little stage.
I don't know if you've got that where if somebody can just remind you of a show and a location, you can just flash back and go, oh yeah, I remember that was a good night. That was a good night.
Well, I think it's such whenever you get up on the stage, like you kind of notice it immediately, like kind of how it feels in your feet. Like if it's weird, like that was like almost like being on a.
I remember it was in it was in a corner almost, and you looked out at the room like this, and
it was an awkward.
The speakers were next to us.
They were.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. Maybe you have a photographic memory. Do you think that or no?
No, not at all. I think I just remember sets.
Would you say you're a smart guy?
It's weird because yes and no. As I get older, I believe that I'm completely dumb. As time goes on, I start to realize, I know nothing. I know nothing. What's strange is, people have interests outside of comedy, such as, some people are really into music. Some people are like
dancing.
Oh yeah, I play basketball every morning. Oh, I do this, I do that. People are like, Ryan, what do you do outside of comedy? I'm like, I listen to a lot of comedy, and I keep up.
Eggs.
I keep up on people's stuff, and I try to write my own stuff. And like I'm big into comedy albums.
You love
We
them.
brought up Amy's
Amy
album
Schumer,
earlier.
you said you'd listen to the
well,
album.
This was my first album, oddly enough,
You've heard it.
and I believe I own all of these actually.
Are you serious?
Yeah, well, Woody Allen stand-up comic, definitely.
He's incredible. Even just reading
I
his.
still don't know what that Woody Allen is at the end there. I do not have that one, but we'll
That
get
could be
into
the
that.
pedophilia album. I think that came out late. Is he a pedophile? I don't even know, but he dresses like one.
He
Dude, if
with
I'm at
his
that
daughter.
age, yeah.
He's with his daughter.
If I'm at that age and I'm still funny, man, I'm definitely not a pedophile, but I'm on that borderline, you know?
He's an interesting one because he was so renowned as a stand-up comic, and then went, okay, well, I don't do that anymore. And I almost feel like
That's
that
impossible.
has to happen, actually. It almost, because at some point you grow old and you're just not connected. You know, you will not hear. I don't believe that, like, even like Louis C.K., who's amazing, I don't believe he can connect with Justin Bieber's crowd.
Right. Yeah, no, not at all.
You know what I mean? Like, there's such a generation gap that happens just naturally.
Well, even, yeah, I'm 30. I don't feel like I could, like, some of the college crowds, I'm like, I don't know what they watch. I don't know what they like.
Yeah.
You know?
And to stay relevant, it's almost like, I almost feel like I don't really want kids, but I feel like I should have them just because I look at my parents and I look at what having kids did for them. Like, my mother is a retired lady.
Kept her young, probably.
And she wakes up, she'll wake up tomorrow morning and she'll grab her iPad and she'll look at tweets from Dana Gould
No way.
and Bob Saget and Anthony Jeselnik and myself. And she'll even call and she'll be like, did you read what the Sulk wrote? I'm like, no, Mom, I didn't. What was it? Oh, it was so funny. And
Does she tweet as well?
no, she does not.
Oh.
She just has an account so that she can.
I want to give her Twitter out. That'd be awesome.
I mean, for a whole year, she would just like type in the URL of twitter.com/Bob Saget, twitter.com/
That's sad.
Stout Ryan. That's me. And just read them. And I'm like, Mom, there's an easier way. Oh, I didn't know. So it's weird, like, to think if she didn't have kids, it would not be. She would not be connected to that.
Wonder what she would be doing then.
Well, she has a sister who is single, older sister who's single, lives in Cleveland. My dear, dear Aunt Jerry, Geraldine.
Oh, it's a beautiful name too. It's coming back actually.
And I go and I visit her in Cleveland, and I'm like, do you have wireless internet? She was like, wireless? I've got a computer, it plugs into a wall. I'm like, okay. She doesn't have TiVo, she doesn't DVR anything.
It's changing. I mean, the times are changing. But I will say this: a lot of older names. I think some things are starting to come back, and the names, like, yeah, a lot of old people don't know what's going on. Like my mother calls it the email. The internet.
See, and that's the weird thing. Like, my aunt is like that, but my mom and my dad, they're totally tech savvy.
Huh.
They're totally on top of it, and I feel like that's my point. You have to have kids so they keep you connected to stuff. So that your kids come home from school and go, I want to see the new Justin Bieber movie. And you're like, what is a Justin Bieber?
Right.
Let's figure it out. Oh, that's what that is.
Like, I want to see Dora the Explorer. I want to see Shrek. I want to see. Otherwise, you don't know.
Yeah. Like, right now, I feel really disconnected. I have no idea what kids are watching or into.
Me neither. I know that a lot of kids, and I know this from a fact. I have a 12-year-old nephew who has mobile Pornhub on his phone, on his iPhone. And so I couldn't imagine being in, science biology class at 12 and watching, gangbangs or watching pornography.
Right.
Can you imagine that?
It's science class. They're teaching you about human anatomy,
Yes.
and you're like, I got labia right here.
Yeah, man, I got the big dual insertion. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like that can't be good. I feel like
agree.
access to anything whenever you want it can't be good.
But does that make us sound old by saying that? Or
I mean, maybe it does, but we also don't know the long-term effects of it because we haven't experienced it yet.
Yeah,
I mean, certainly your level of anticipation for anything has gone down. Remember when, I wasn't around for this, but in the 70s, a record would come out, and people would wait outside the record store
to get it.
To get the record. And maybe they would sell out before you got in.
Yep.
And so you'd be nervous and excited, and there was a sense of
camping
need
out.
there.
Yeah.
Whereas now an album comes out and you're like, Oh yeah, they have an unlimited supply of those on iTunes.
Forever.
Click, I got it.
Done. It's true. I remember having to camp out for, and this still happens sometimes with concert tickets. I remember when a certain, albums and cassette tapes would come out. We didn't even have a Best Buy in our town. We had a place called The Grapevine where we would camp out all night to be there in the morning when they opened the doors at 10 a.m. and get in there in that big plastic case that the tapes were in.
Yeah,
they were
and
locked
you'd get
in that
vanilla
thing.
ice and you'd walk out.
And walk out, and you'd fucking felt good. And you looked at the last guy in line and you're like, you are going to be eating your own because you're not getting this.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't enough.
Cypress Hill, MFers, Black Sunday, we got it.
Jump around. I mean,
kids rapping about kid shit.
Yeah, these kids don't know these days.
I missed the bus.
These kids don't know these days, dude.
We are not connecting with a younger generation.
That's okay,
right
man.
We had a younger. Happening. There's an older generation we're not connecting with either, but our generation, they're pissing themselves right now.
We are peeing on each other. Our generation is just. Oh, it's just a big urine ball.
But that's the other thing I think that's happening kind of with entertainment is I thought there was something magical to the idea of someone would come out onto a stage and talk, and after an hour they'd say goodnight and they'd walk away, and everyone would be left to wonder. I wonder what they're doing, I wonder what they're thinking, I wonder, they're gone now, I don't have access to them. And now I do a show and somebody Facebook messages me, and I hate to respond, but I also feel like it's rude to not respond. So then I'm like, oh yeah, thanks for being there. And then the next time I'm in their town, they're like, hey, I'm gonna come to your show. Is there any way I can get free tickets?
Yeah.
You want free tickets because I responded to you once on Facebook? Like, why do you think this connection means I give you stuff for free now? I'd rather be mysterious and you don't know anything I do in my life.
I wonder if it's safer maybe to do that, and a lot of comedians and entertainers are afraid to make that separation.
I mean, I really kind of hang on to it in a lot of ways. Like on Facebook, I really don't. I post on Twitter, and that posts to my Facebook page, and people can comment, and I really don't.
Really, the need to
I don't
interact.
jump in. People ask me questions, and I'm like, guys, I'm not. What do you want from me? Do you want me to spend my day connecting with you, or would you like me to create more comedy for you?
Right.
You make a choice right here, right now.
That is a very, great question, proclamation / question, because I don't know the word I'm looking for, to present to audiences. Yeah, what do you want, you know? Do you want your comedian to sit there and, you know, like you said, and communicate with you all day on Facebook, or do you want them to actually be making new material?
Yeah, and it's a weird thing that I think audiences would rather see a show where they can say, oh, I know that guy, I like that guy, and I know that you know that guy, and I saw the show. They'd rather see that than see a good show. Because if you see a great show and you're like, yeah, I saw this comedian, Ryan Stout, who's really funny, you don't know who he is, but he's this thing, like they don't want to go through the effort to have to explain.
Right.
They'd rather say, I mean, music's kind of the same way. Somebody can go see The Who, and The Who, they could suck. But this person's going to go into work the next day and go, I saw The Who, they were awesome. And they feel like a sense of like, I don't know, bravado about them, that I saw The Who and you didn't. And so I'm better.
Yeah, it's like when people are checking in where they are and stuff like that. Like being somewhere means something.
Yeah, I don't know.
But not being someone doesn't mean anything. Wow, we're getting into some interesting stuff.
Yeah, aren't we?
That was cool,
so
though.
Deep.
But it definitely affects our jobs. I mean, things have changed a lot, you know, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, somebody asked me recently, and I won't, it's a person who's getting into comedy, and he's well known, but he's only been doing comedy for a few months.
Right.
And he asked me, he was like, do you think it's better?
He was on our show.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Do you think it's better to be, you know, commercially successful, or do you think it's better to be respected by your peers? And I'm like, well, I think that's a question that came up 10 years ago for me, and I made a choice, and I have to live with it now. Because the fact of the matter is, like, I'm sure you've gone out for like commercials and things like that, and then it gets down to that thing where you might get the job, and they're like, we'd really like you to pull these things down off your website because that makes our product look bad. We don't want to be associated with your rape joke, even though it wasn't offensive and it was this and that. We don't like it. We don't think it's appropriate. Whereas, you know, if you want to be respected by your peers, you go, look, this is what I do, and I do it no matter what, and the commercial doesn't matter.
And that's who I am. I went in for an audition the other day, and the casting director, we ended up talking about Dane Cook, talking about comedy, and she goes, Dane would never come in for sitcoms. He didn't want to come in for them. He just said, no, I don't want to do it. It just, whether he felt like it was because I don't know if I could even see him in some sitcoms because he's, especially at his prime, and he's just so out there and so, creative and is just creating these visions that it doesn't really fit into the precision of a sitcom.
Yeah, maybe not.
And so maybe he was just like, I don't do it,
It's strange because now I feel like the idea of comedy is get famous for anything you can and then take advantage of that and do whatever you want on stage.
But then will it have a lasting effect? But then also, does being a lasting comedian even matter anymore? And is it even possible? Because you look at a guy like Dane Cook, he hit really the magnum opus, the highest you could hit as a performer. I mean,
right.
He's the biggest in the last 10, 15 years, maybe except for like a Larry the Cable Guy. But to just that meteoric, that's not a word, but you know what I'm saying? He hit it. And now it's like...
Meteoric. Meteors and erotic.
That actually sounds good, huh?
Uh-huh.
He could never do that again.
Right.
It'd be just the way the world's built now. It's impossible.
Right.
And it's unfortunate because, he could have 20 other amazing albums.
Yeah.
And there's rumors going around that he doesn't even do comedy anymore.
Huh.
I mean, I don't know if that's true or anything, but it's just like, is it sad that the nature of the technology in the world around us and the entertainment industry defeats the art itself,
It's hard because, comedy is one of those things that nobody's good at it out of the womb. Nobody's good instantly. They might be popular instantly, but it takes years to be good, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard, and it's, trial and error, and, it takes 10, 20 years to create an overnight success, blah, blah, blah. But...
That's true.
People won't wait around 10, 20 years.
Not now.
No, now you're like 2 years in, and people on the internet are your fans, and they're like, we've already seen all your material. Get some new stuff. Yeah. They get hostile about it.
Immediately.
And you're like, Like, I don't know if this is just my perception or if this is actually what happened, but it seemed like Ron White released his first album that he had been working on for 20 years.
Yeah, this guy had been everywhere.
And it was huge, and everyone loved it. And then 2 years later, he released his second album, and I heard all sorts of people go, yeah, I didn't think the second one was as good. Yeah, because he didn't work on it for 20 years. He gave in to demand and created a thing because you were hungry for more.
Yeah.
And right now, it's almost better to be prolific than talented. Be prolific. Don't be good.
Yeah, kids.
Just create a lot of stuff. Just crank out material. I do a vlog post every single day. It's 5 minutes long. I've got 1 billion followers.
Oh, well.
1 billion people subscribe. Oh, so you're popular. I've got an act that I can go and do on stage anywhere in the world. I can talk for an hour and take a crowd who hates me and get them on my side over time. But somehow, people are like, we've seen it now.
Yeah.
Now that I've seen it, what else?
Now
and
what?
I'm like, well, that was the thing. That took a long time to create. Like when I moved to Hollywood, it was so horrendous that I realized after a little while, the best thing that could happen in this town is to do a set and have some big important person there. And then they go, hey, we'd love to have a meeting with you. And you go and have a meeting and they go, that was great. So what else?
What else?
What do you mean, what else? You know how hard that is to do that I just did that you saw? I made strangers laugh. People who did not know me or like me, I made them like me and made them laugh.
It's true.
What, are you out of your mind? That was hard.
Like Mitch Hedberg told me, they're like, can you farm?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Which is just such a great line.
Yeah. So now I go in, I'm like, I'll host your show.
Yeah.
For me, like hosting is entertainment. It's not art. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do a kids show. I'll sit in on The View. I'll host anything.
Now, do you get a lot of hosting opportunities? Because you immediately come across as like obviously from your look, you look like a safe, white, American, male, possible father figure, older brother who is cool.
Yeah, I get a lot of...
And not to judge you, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
And it's a good thing to have in Hollywood.
I think overwhelmingly what's happening with me right now is I'll screen test for stuff.
That's great.
Whether it's a game show or like some sort of green screen clip show or whatever. And then I'll get pulled aside by the producers and be like, look, we think it's really great. We really want you for this. But the network doesn't want someone who's white. So we like you. We're just letting you know that right now, though.
Like, what can you do? Like, can you?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's the one note I can't deal with. If you want it more energetic, I'll be more energetic. You want it less snarky, I'll be less snarky. What do you need me to do? Not talk over their heads? Oh, it's a daytime thing, so be more, likable and soft.
And urban.
I could do that.
Can you be Latino?
Yeah. Ryan, we need you to change your skin color and gender. Can you be a small Cambodian woman? I can't. I cannot, unfortunately.
Unbelievable.
But if I could, I would.
Well, it's definitely neat to have like a, I don't even really think about the business as much or really get into a real serious conversation about it, I feel like we've definitely, kind of encapsulated some things that are really true, man. I mean, it's hard. It's such a hard craft people don't realize to create and establish and then to be good at.
Right.
And then just think, oh yeah, I can do it again tomorrow, and it's completely different material.
Sure.
It's impossible.
My favorite thing that I've gotten recently is, I guess 2 comics were talking about me, and I ran into one of them later, and they said, oh yeah, I was talking with so-and-so, and we were like, you're one of those guys that you totally like MC'd at a club, and then you middled, and now you headline everywhere, and you got on Comedy Central for like a small spot on Live at Gotham, then you did the half hour, did late night spots, you did Conan, you're on Chelsea Lately here and there, you hosted a ton of stuff for MTV, like you've gradually built all the way, and you have no fan base. Like no one,
really?
No one's coming out to see you. You're completely obscure, but somehow you've done all the right things. Like you have material, you have a new album coming out, but we don't know, no one knows who you are. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, but clearly I'm doing it wrong, and I'm just gonna keep doing it wrong because I feel like I'm creating results. I'm like, look, here's an album of material, listen to it, and that's done. That's a piece of art that I can't control whether it's popular or not.
Well, so say do you actually have a new album coming out?
Yeah, later this year, Comedy Central Records.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
you have a good relationship over there.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, from an outsider's perspective, it seems like that.
If they're willing to do that. I don't have a show on their network or anything.
But I mean, I think that, those kind of things will happen. Do you feel like sometimes you have to wait in line because there are obviously comics that obviously, I feel like sometimes it's a wait in line kind of thing because there's guys, there's one of us who was a year older or 2 years older who deserves their chance.
Well, the weird thing with me is I'm at a strange place where artistically, I've been a comic for 10 years, but I'm 28. So they're like, you're too young, we don't need you for this right now.
Right. They feel like they can just hold out.
Yeah, they can hold out. Meanwhile, my peers are getting stuff because they're the right age group.
Right.
And I'm like, but I've actually been doing comedy longer than that person, and that, I guess, doesn't matter.
The potholes,
I have no control over anything that happens, so I'm just like, I wake up and try to
make good material.
The honest thing with me is when my head hits the pillow at night, if I've written something that makes me laugh, I go, all right, we're done.
Job.
We're done.
That's not a bad way to think about it, man. If we want to find you on the web, Ryan, where can we check you out at?
RyanStout.com, as always.
Beautiful.
It's a flash site, and it takes a long time to load. So
I like that, the long
load.
load.
Go to youtube.com/RyanStout. Go to twitter.com/StoutRyan. Facebook.com/Ryan Stout fan page. Because I'm already full of friends.
So Twitter, it means @StoutRyan, right?
Yeah.
@StoutRyan. Awesome, man. And do you have a clip of yours that we can check on the way out?
Yeah, everything on YouTube's good. And then, or if you just want to Google Ryan Stout Conan, watch my Conan set, okay. Put that up.
Can we do that then? How about that? We're going to play this Conan set on the way out of here. And we're just going to continue to contemplate the world of entertainment and how it is a...
art and entertainment and technology and anticipation, and it all comes together, and it's not good.
It's not. It's a diarrhea, people.
Yeah.
But you heard it here first on the Comedy Sideshow. Thanks for hanging out with us. Will you come back sometime?
Yeah, sure.
Cool, man. Thank you very much. Check him out at @StoutRyan on Twitter. This is the Comedy Sideshow. I'm Theo Von with Ryan Stout. Thank you guys for checking us out.
I am in a great mood tonight. Do your friends ever go out and buy something, and then you'll go out and you'll buy something similar or identical? but you get a better price. Doesn't that feel great? Don't you feel just righteous and superior? I love that feeling. Like, here's what happened to me. My friend, he just started supporting one of those third world kids, right? And he was paying like 47 cents a week. I started supporting a similar kid, 36 cents a week. That's right. Thank you. You have to look for the deal. You have to, because people want to rip you off. And sure, yeah, fine, I got one of the ugly ones. But I love him just as much. Little Bargain, that's his name. And I love him just as much. And you can't buy love, you know? So why pay more? Why pay more? I love a great deal. I go to this one STD clinic. They have a great deal. Let's hear me out, judgy. It's $100 for all the tests. But if it turns out you have any diseases, they waive the fee. Gone. They don't even care. Isn't that great? They don't want your dirty money. It was weird though. Last time I was there, somebody had stolen my wallet, so I didn't have any cash on me to pay for the test. I was in the waiting room just praying that I had like syphilis, gonorrhea, something. And you know what? The good Lord came through. Yeah, that's right. He took a negative and he turned it into a positive. Sometimes there's only one set of footprints in the sand. And that's when God carries you. Come on, crowd, what am I saying? What am I really saying if you think about the joke? Jesus saves. And then he passes those savings on to me.
Oh, man. So we're at a comedy club tonight. We're upstairs at a comedy club. You been here before?
Yeah, a few thousand times.
Right on. This is Scot Richardson, right? That's you.
Yeah.
Good. All right, then we are off 1 for 1. Scot Richardson, who started one of the most successful comedy show nights on the planet, Comedy Juice, at the Hollywood Improv in Los Angeles, California.
Let's not underestimate the success. I mean, I think it's probably safe to say in the galaxy.
Okay, we'll go with galaxy.
Unless you know more popular shows on Mars or Venus, then it's got to be.
Well, some of the numbers are a few light years away from coming in, so it's hard to really tabulate some of that.
Nielsen's are a little slow coming from space.
And ever since they disqualified Pluto from even being a planet.
Which is total BS. I mean, how do they,
It's out there.
Yeah, it's there. It's on a moon.
It's out there. Scott, I'm going to tell you about one of my, this is the magnum opus of my young comedy career. And I say young just to make myself feel better. But one night I was on stage at the Comedy Juice show, at your show with Drew Carey, Dane Cook, Daniel Tosh, Joe Rogan, and Kira Sultanovich.
Just typical lineup.
Bro, I got off, and I was just the MC, but just, I mean, I've said their names in my head every day, you know? But to say them and then have them come up and be like, oh, here they are, you know? It was amazing.
We've had some amazing nights. We've just been incredibly lucky. Hopefully hardworking too, but incredibly lucky, and had lineups like that where it's like the powerhouses of today's comedy, 5 of them. And the people who I really love seeing is when the audience reacts to that.
Right.
When it's just a night like that and like, they think you're joking after like the 5th one. They're like, yeah, you know, Eddie Murphy's, you know, gonna go up next.
Have you had Eddie Murphy?
Have not had Eddie Murphy. He's one of the few that has not played our show.
Have you had Chappelle?
I've had Chappelle many times. And
that had to be awesome.
Yeah. That's like a show change. I mean, that's like something people talk about for months. The biggest one we had with Chappelle was right after he disappeared in Africa. The whole, you know, quit Comedy Central, disappeared.
Right, now you're Chappelle, now you don't.
The night he reappeared was actually at our show. He showed up here, and like the next day, you know, People Magazine and stuff were asking for quotes, and I'm like, he came in. They're like, did he look like he was on terrible drugs? I'm like, terrible.
Did he have any animals with him? Did he have?
You start asking like random questions, like, don't you think I would have mentioned that? I mean, I probably wouldn't have, but you know.
Did he look tribal? Did he have like feathers and bones hanging from his face? So did you? I mean, that's
Did he have
crazy.
AIDS?
Do you think he picked your show? Obviously, he must have picked it for a reason. I'm sure he knows about it. Obviously, at this point, yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's two things. Our show, obviously, great reputation. And I think more than anything, people know that when they come here, they'll be taken care of.
Right.
You know, we've taken care of talent for years and just made sure, you know, stupid as that they are protected, they're not promoted, whatever it is, so that they feel safe.
Right.
So I'm sure that was part of it. And then the Improv itself is just an amazing brand and attracts people like that. And, you know, he's one of those people, he lives in the middle of the country, and a few times a year he says, gets a hankering to do stand-up in either New York or LA. He picks one of them, he shows up, he doesn't tell anyone, he calls a couple friends, and he goes to 2 or 3 of these clubs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I feel good even just hearing about it. I mean, he's.
And by the way,
one
when he
comic
comes, he does hours. We're not talking like a tight 15. I mean, they come from Ohio, like, and he knows, it's not like Chappelle gets the light, right?
Right. Who's gonna light him?
Who's gonna let him?
God.
He smokes cigarettes on stage, right? We're in California where you cannot smoke inside anywhere. Like there are fire marshals like who are SWAT team and will slide in, like, you know, hose you out a cigarette. But Chappelle, no problem. Like they stand down the California military for him. And he'll just do 2 hours. And the amazing thing about seeing him is he'll just start asking for suggestions. He'll just be like, what do you guys want to talk about? It's not like she's like, give me suggestions. He's just like, what do you guys want to talk about? And someone will just shout a topic and he will riff for like 15 minutes. Like an average human non-superhero comic would be like, you know, I got a minute on, you know, whatever you throw out there. I mean, that's great improv. If you can do a minute cold on any subject, that's impressive.
Even if
he'll
you
do
could talk,
15.
If you could talk for 15 minutes about a subject, whether it's funny or not.
Yeah, absolutely. But just has people rolling.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I just can't even fathom that. Now let's take that then and compare it to the first Comedy Juice show you ever had. Who was on the lineup? Do you remember?
I do remember some of them.
Nice. Ben Glebe, obviously.
Ben
I'm
Glebe,
guessing, yes.
Right. So I started Comedy Juice with Ben Glebe, who's obviously, you know, is moved on from Comedy Juice to become on the on-camera side of a huge success.
Yep, he's done a great job. Was just recently on a tour with Dane Cook.
Yep.
And Chris
Regular on
Army.
Chelsea Lately.
Yep, does a great job on Chelsea Lately. Works with MySpace. Just super entertainer. We've had him on here before, and also Ben and I went to comedy class together to start comedy.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
What
so
year
that's
was
my
that?
Ben's story. This is about 8 years ago. So
Okay.
8, 9 years ago, I guess now.
2002, 2003.
Yep, and then I didn't do comedy for 2 years, but Ben got right into it. But a great guy anyway. So go on with the first lineup.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, Ben was on the lineup because we started it together. Mr. Bob Saget.
Oh, nice, Bob Saget. Nice guy.
Very nice guy. Very funny. Obviously, extremely dirty. Like
Yeah.
who, you know, shocks anyone who expects to see.
Dude.
What was the show called? I almost called it Family Guy, but that's clearly
Full House.
Full House.
Yeah, he's like the Full House. He's like that's the when I used to. He goes, that's what I would call it when I gave Kimmy Gibbler the shocker.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't really say that, but that would be cool if he
That's
did.
pretty much what he says. Though.
Yeah,
That's like his
pretty
act.
much what he said.
So him, Jay Moore.
Oh, Jay, wow.
Yeah.
It's not a shabby lineup.
It was a heavy hitting lineup. We launched big, and we totally we had no idea what we were doing promoting. I mean, this is like our very first promotion ever.
And it was here at the Improv?
No. This was actually at the Laugh Factory.
Okay, at the Laugh Factory.
Laugh Factory, and this is 2001, late 2001. God, it's been almost 10, 11 years. I mean,
Wow,
we're
thank God.
since we've been doing the show, which is insane. But anyway, we didn't know what we were doing, and we way overbooked the crowd. We invited like everyone we'd ever met. You know, it was one of those things where like,
You're
remember
bussing.
that girl? And we're like, well, who can get a hold of her? Like, we're gonna invite her, right? So we just literally invited everyone who we can imagine. And you know, we had big comics, and we're just like, come for free. We just, you know, we didn't want to bomb our first show. That was
Right.
our big fear. Because no one wants to have your first gig at like one of these big LA clubs and be like, there's 4 people. You know, and we just brought out Jay Moore and Bob Saget to, you know, have a campfire.
And I'm sure at that time, especially even with Bob Saget, it's still extremely popular with young people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, basically, we oversold it, which is amazing, and we had one friend in the audience get extremely drunk
Nice.
and was yelling at Ben constantly from stage. Ben was hosting at the time, and she would just be like, "Ben, I love you," and like people didn't know, they're like, "Do you know that person, or is that just like a random weird heckler who?" you know,
I
just tagging.
hate that girl, dude.
And she was a good friend and was like, this is our big night. What, you're blowing it. So that was one of those, like, someone, you know,
So that's
someone
the
go
other
have the
side.
talk with.
Yeah,
I won't say her name.
We're not friends anymore. Oh, she knows who she is.
She knows.
She'll never forget. No, I was once on a date with a girl who I knew was wearing a G-string, and then later that night she got wasted, shit her pants.
Oh my
and
God.
I was like, ugh, can you imagine shitting your pants in a G-string?
G-string, yeah.
That is disgusting.
Split in half.
So it's not the same as, yeah, it's just like, anyway, yeah, that's not really the same as anything you're talking about, but
It's a great story.
But it's a great story. And
Did that really happen?
It really happened. And
I want details. I'm gonna interview you for a second.
okay, I was out on a date with a girl who was actually not a girl anymore. She was in her probably late 39s, probably 39 or almost 40. And
45, basically.
45.
Okay.
And we met on a night. Actually, I had just broken up with my girlfriend. We got in a fight. This lady and I met. We went on a
I
date.
think you call her a lady.
now she's a lady. My
elderly
grandmother's
woman.
friend, my grandmother's friend and I ended up in her
Hit me up on O date.
white SUV, and we went out, got wasted, some tequila shots, and she ended up getting really drunk. One of her friends had to come pick her up, and she passed out in the bathroom. And on the way out, I could tell that she had shit herself.
Oh.
So anyway, but we're gonna bring it. We're actually.
Did you know she was wearing a G-string?
I knew she was wearing a G-string because I saw it a couple times when she'd lean like with the menu and like she'd do like the menu like this, like, oh, I'm just gonna read what I want over here, you know.
Right.
While you just
With
read
her
what you
40-year-old
want.
eyes. Yeah.
Like, yeah, you just read what you want,
Right.
you know. But anyway, so that was one of the worst dates of my life. But
Sounds like it.
anyway, let's talk about a not worst date. I hate to spin right into this subject, but I was at the first, I want to say, Indian wedding that I ever went to in my life. Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement.
This was
I'm
your
not
wedding.
Indian. This is my wedding, yes.
Your wedding. Now, you were supposed to be riding on an elephant. Is that true?
I mean, that's one of the traditions. It's one of the
Okay.
choices. And I fought long and hard to ride an elephant because I was very excited about it.
Who wouldn't be?
But when you find out the costs and the logistics behind said elephant,
Yeah.
I whimpered and cowered.
I heard that it's $3 to $4 grand just to get even a cheap old elephant, and you have to have like a guy with a stun gun like a few feet away, like a huge dart.
Yeah.
We're talking like a missile.
And they warn you, they're like, sign this paper, there's a chance you will trample people at your wedding. They will die, you will not get married. Is that okay? Sign here. And you're like, $4 grand for 30 seconds? It's like it's like the rides at Disneyland, you know, that like less expensive than that.
Easily. Yeah, easily. That's 10-year pass. It's a 30-year pass. It's a lifetime pass at Disneyland for probably everybody at the wedding.
A month's salary can go to ride an elephant 8 feet. And I was like, no, it's okay. But the tradition, just to explain to people at home, is it's called a barat.
It's called a barat.
And the groom actually enters the wedding and meets the bride's side.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to enter in something grand, and your whole party's dancing and
We were
making
dancing.
sounds. Oh, you were dancing. So
We were
I
dancing. It
had
was awesome.
Theo, so Theo was a guest, and our whole side enters and screaming, yelling, dancing, playing music. We have a mobile DJ, as they refer to it.
It was
in the
unbelievable.
game.
It felt very, it honestly felt very tribal. That it did kind of feel like, okay, we're offering up this man. You know, it definitely
and
had
it's
that
the
feeling.
tradition where like two villages usually used to set up an
Conjoined.
arranged marriage.
And this
between,
is an Indian. This is an Indian wedding.
This is an Indian wedding, so
It's
it's-
okay to term it that. Okay.
Yeah, and
And your wife is Indian.
she is Indian.
Yes. And so her family's all was waiting there when we got there. When we come around, it was at a hotel. We come around, this big tribe coming around. Scott's in the forefront. There's
And-
DJs.
And her entire family and friends were like, he's white.
Yeah, I mean their DJs stopped when we came around the
I
corner
know.
because
It was
it's
like
just
the
so-
record.
Yeah. It's like the Indian record, like. So we come around. They're all standing there, all in traditional Indian garb for the most part.
Yep.
And they had like a. Now they presented you with a bunch of stuff immediately. What was that?
I don't know.
Okay, good.
I
That's
wish,
all right.
I wish I could explain it. It was okay. So I guess funny wedding story is our priestess.
Yes, was it a grandmother?
Who's, I mean, she wasn't like related. She does this for a living. Is like been doing it for 50 years. You have to know, in order to perform an Indian wedding ceremony, you have to know Sanskrit.
Okay.
Which is the like oldest language, like period, like
Yeah.
older than like Old Latin or.
That's old communication. That's like
Right.
before peeing in the bed. That was the original form of communication. This is before that.
Exactly. Right before that, then peeing in the bed. So you have to still speak that, which there's like 8 people left in the world who speak
Wow.
it. I'm exaggerating hugely. There are plenty of people, but it's a really old language. So we found this old priestess woman who was going to do the ceremony. And she comes to the house a week before and is asking all these official questions. And, you know, she says, don't worry, the day before we'll explain to you what all the stuff is. And I go, great. And then the day before the wedding for the rehearsal, she had a dental emergency.
Of course, dude. Sanskrit, dude, you gotta have your grill tight, son.
Which I think was just her way of getting out of an extra day of work. She's like, they're not gonna fire me one day before the wedding. Like, let's get loaded. And, you know.
She's shooting up in her teepee somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it was, well, she did a great job. And I definitely could understand. I mean, it was some of it was hard to understand, but you got the gist.
You understood the Sanskrit, of course, yes.
Yeah, and you understood the family coming up, and it was actually, I mean, it was one of the coolest ceremonies I've ever been to. I will say that the entire ceremony. I was fortunate enough. I sat with Matt Coleman and Joel Bashkoff, two are business associates of yours, right?
Yep, they own a bunch of comedy clubs.
Comedy clubs around the country, so yeah, honestly we had a great time. That was an amazing wedding. The first Indian kind of wedding experience I've ever been to. And that's going to turn us right into, we just said business associates. You started a company, you are a CEO of a company called LaughStub.
Correct.
Right? And now LaughStub, I use LaughStub. I'm a comedian, touring comedian, tour 25 at least weeks a year. I use LaughStub to sell all of my tickets to most comedy clubs, including to be able to communicate with my fans and let them know where I'm going to be at. Mm-hmm. Is that basically what LaughStub does?
I mean, it's part of it. I mean, basically, we're a technology platform, and we're both for venues, artists themselves, performers, and promoters. So we're trying to sort of build a whole ecosystem.
Like the Ticketmaster for comedy. Is that a safe term?
It is. In fact, we're actually expanding out of comedy. So we're now doing live music and electronic music, which is house music DJs. So we actually have LaughStub, which is what you use, and then we have TuneStub for like traditional, music, and then we have Electro Stub. So we actually have all three. So I wouldn't just say Ticketmaster for comedy, but basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a more modern social version of a ticketing ecosystem for small venues, and we're talking 1,000 seats and less.
Right. Like here, the Hollywood Improv.
Absolutely. So we build a software package that lets them to sell tickets online, manage their website, manage their customer database, and then we give the same tools or similar ones to you guys. Because really, I mean, you guys can reach your fans more directly than anybody else these days, right?
And we know how to do it these days.
Right.
But you guys make it a lot easier because the templates are already all there.
Right. So we do everything from, we have tools to like auto tweet. So you can set up not all your tweets. We don't want you necessarily tweeting jokes way in advance. That'd be a little silly. But, if you have 25 shows a year, you can automate, how do I want to promote this show on Twitter for the next month? I'm going to set it up in I'm going to sit down for 20 minutes, figure out how I'm going to promote my next month, set up all the times, and then I can forget it.
Yeah.
And automatically somebody's going to say, hey, I saw your tweet, you're playing at Captain Brian's, and, and they'll buy tickets, and you wouldn't have thought about it in 2 weeks.
Nice.
So it's a way to make life easier, and so we automate your schedule that lives in your website, your Facebook, your MySpace, any tools you use online. We give you tools to create events and post tweets automatically and sort of easier ways to manage your own customer database. And what we're doing actually is, so if somebody buys a ticket through, they go to theobond.com, they see your schedule, and they click and they go to our website.
Right.
We not only ask them to join our email list, because obviously we want to teach them, but we actually ask them to join your email list.
Oh, nice.
So
it's a benefit to me as well.
It's a benefit to you. And
it immediately collects my fan information for me.
And you can access anytime, download it to any mail program you use through our system. So it's basically, to the artist, it's a way to help, gather your fans and get another way to contact them. Because it's, sometimes you have a Twitter page, but how do you know how to contact somebody in Florida? We provide, you said this person bought tickets for you in Florida.
Oh, wow.
They bought 5 tickets, so they have a lot of friends. Maybe you want to hit them up next time and say, hey, bring a group of 8.
Right.
You can access that data through our system so that you can actually help build your own career and your fans.
Right, be my guest coming out. Oh, wow, I didn't know. Some of these things I didn't even know. I probably need to explore a little bit more.
Yeah, and our tools are expanding all the time. I mean, there's things,
I've noticed
I'd say every 2 weeks we release some feature of some sort that'll, hopefully be, a difference maker. And I mean, we don't just release features just to release them. We think, wow, this is really going to help a comedian or a venue sell more tickets tomorrow than they do today.
Well, I mean, I definitely feel that it's useful. And I mean, I'm going to send this out to a lot of clubs. I mean, most of the clubs that I go to, half the clubs I go to use LaughStub, half of them don't. Your ticketing system, if you don't use it, honestly, it's a lot easier for them and us if they use it. Like, not to just push the last. I mean, obviously I'm a fan. All my friends, comedians use it, but it really is just easier. It looks nicer. I mean, a lot of these comedy clubs, they need to recognize that They need to update
Let's-
their system.
Let's be real for a second, right? Comedians, I love you. I had a ton of them at my wedding, so
Right.
you know how much I love
Oh
comedians.
yeah, no doubt.
But they want to be funny for a living. They want to write. They want to worry about those things. So when a new show comes in, their first thought isn't, hey, I got to get this up on my website, my MySpace, my Facebook.
No.
You know, which it needs to be updated in all three places instantly.
Right.
But if instead the club, who if they're using our system, would send you an email and it'd say, Theo Von's playing these dates. You literally hit yes in an email, and all three places are automatically updated. It takes
Done.
2 seconds. And so what happens is the clubs are able to get their comics to help carry the water much easier.
Yeah.
So that's where that relationship, plays in. But
I can focus on comedy.
Right. And for the venues, and no offense, but we actually focused more on the venue tools than even the artist tools. The venue tools are incredibly powerful to help a venue drive customers to them. So everything from understanding their customers better, we give them ways to sort customers, right? Because somebody goes out on a Tuesday night, buys a ticket to a political comedy show like Mark Maron, uses a coupon, goes with 8 people, buys dinner beforehand. That's a lot of information in every single purchase. And so what we do is we give the clubs really easy ways to mine that data in order to successfully give somebody something they want in the future. Because that's where the world is really going, is people don't want to just be mass marketed to like a commercial on Friends.
They want to be specifically marketed to.
Right. They want to say, we know you like Mark Maron, who else do we think you would like? And hey, you used a discount last time, why don't you use it? And you're willing to go out on the week, on a Tuesday, so let's hit you up for a Tuesday show.
Right.
And somebody who's got kids is never going to go out on a Tuesday, is going to get that and go, this is spam. And that's how they're going to think about it. So we're helping clubs think through things like that. We give them things like auto tweet. We give them ways to connect with it. We give them beautiful websites, hopefully, and good branding. And the customers get emailed tickets with their brand on it, not a ticketing company. They can sell advertising on their own ticket or advertise for future shows. So lots of
So you keep it pretty clean there too for the venues and the customers, what they like.
Yeah,
Yeah, because like if I just took I hate to use this reference, but if I just took a shit in a stream and I walk out of there and then I get an email on my phone and it's like, oh, do you like boating? I'm like, well, that's a little vague, But if I took a shit in the stream and then I walk out,
but
it's like,
actually that's targeted because you were by the stream.
right?
So
But
they
still,
knew you
but if
must
I
like
get
the boat.
one that says you like water shoes and toilet paper, I'm like, that's a little more
That's
fun
that
too.
for me, and then you're like,
And that's kind of what Laugh Stub I think can probably do.
we're the water shoes and,
And toilet paper.
and toilet paper for
But just making it more specific for everyone.
yeah.
And just making it, I get it, man.
That's a much better business pitch, by the way. Do you mind if I steal that?
You can definitely have that.
I'm just gonna start using that for all my big, meetings.
I don't
What does
know.
Laugh Stub do? Okay, imagine you were down by a stream. There's no toilet paper anywhere. What do you need now? You need us.
I don't know.
Sell more tickets.
I don't know if I would ever use that, but I know that that I'll continue to use it. And I personally appreciate it. I'm sure as a lot of us do. All the stuff that you've done personally for comedy. I don't know why somebody would care so much about comedy, but thank you for doing it. And just with Comedy Juice, with Laugh Stub. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Scott Richardson, and can we close out with one of how about we do one of Ben Gleib's favorite clips? Is that cool? Since you guys are such
Absolutely.
good friends. Do you have a specific
sure
bit of
you'll
his
enjoy
that you
it.
really like?
I have a ton.
Can I just pick one randomly?
Let's do girly drinks.
Okay, cool. We're going to close out with Ben Gleib, who is a mutual friend of ours, and Girly Drinks. This is Scott Richardson, the CEO of Laugh Stub, the creator of Comedy Juice.
Theo Von, one of the funniest men alive. We're going to close with a Theo clip. Let's do midget cats.
All right.
One of the best jokes ever.
Nice, dude. Then we'll double it up then with
Very
Girly
funny,
Drinks
man.
from Ben Gleib and Midget's First Cats of mine. Thank you very much, sir.
You got it. Special request from me.
This is the Comedy
absolute favorite.
Sideshow. We'll see you buying tickets in the future to us on Laugh Stub.
Man, can we talk? There's a lot of things people have weird stances on. Like, let's talk for a second about girly drinks. How did us men screw up so badly that we're not allowed to publicly drink delicious drinks? Why? Because I'm a man, so I enjoy the taste of beer and whiskey, yes. But you know what I also enjoy the taste of? Strawberries. I have a strawberry flavored drink. I get called a little girl. What's that, you little girl? It's tasty, a-hole. Why don't you back off? You know what I understand less than that? I drink smoothies all day long. No one says anything. But I put alcohol in my smoothie and now I'm a bitch? What? I'm getting drunk in my smoothie. That's gangster. I could care less. That's ridiculous.
Fucking midgets, man. Fuck them anyway. I hate them. I fucking hate them, man. Because they're bullshitters. All they do is one shit. Ooh, ooh, I want something, buddy. Build me a ramp. Ooh, ooh, pick me up. Where's my ladder? Pick me up, buddy, so I can see the parade. Fuck you, dude. Leave me the fuck alone, man. If you want to get up here, fucking ride up here on a dragon or something. You think it's all roses and hugs up here? No, I'm doing tall shit. I fucking hate them, man. Tell them, I don't care, tell them. How many you know, 2? Don't nobody know 3 midgets? Fuck them, tell them. Tell both of them. I've trapped them bitches in my yard. I dig a hole, lay some fucking banana leaves on it, then lay a couple of now and laters out there. I know midgets love now and laters. Fuck them. Then they changed the name to Little People. That's stupid, man. That's fucking fag chatter right there. That's stupid, man. Like, don't they change the name to something awesome, you know, something with some fucking nuts on it, you know? Like old-looking children. That's a pretty name right there. Well, if I was a midget, I'd breastfeed till I was 40. As long as you shave and don't wear a suit, I don't think anybody would catch on. Like, damn, that baby climbs up there. Like a damn tit panda. He's gonna be a ball player. Or don't even change the name to something synonymous. Let's change the name to a social issue that little people deal with every day in America, okay, that the government doesn't want to address. Let's change their name that doesn't do well with house cats. Oh, some of y'all never seen a little person deal with a cat, huh? Well, go YouTube the shit, fucker. Little people vs. cats. Because little people are getting attacked by cats, people. That's like us dealing with lions, okay? Every day. Oh, I'm gonna go check my mail. Who in the fuck is that? Fuck, they got a lion by the mail. I'm gonna get my catalog. Little people are getting attacked by cats. White little people, widgets. Black little people, midgets. They are getting attacked. And gatos too, Mexican cats. They're fucking ganging up on little people, stabbing them, stealing their shoes, selling their babies in Culver City. Why do you think they have that old saying, every time you strain open a jar of pickles, a midget gets attacked by a house cat? It's in the fucking Bible, dude. Know your book, homie. This has been The Comedy Sideshow. And we'd like to thank our guests for coming out tonight, Ryan Stout and Scott Richardson. Thank you for watching The Comedy Sideshow. I'm Theo Von. You can check me out at theovon.com. Download my album Midgets vs. Cats on iTunes. Thank you for being here with us.